Julia, you've got new reporting on the Trump administration pushing immigrants to self-deport. Tell us about that, because I think a lot of people are afraid to even take the steps to do that, given what's happening at some of these immigration naturalization hearings, meetings that some people are showing up to and then finding themselves in a bad situation.
That's right. We just saw some reporting on that from yesterday. What our new data finds, and I should say, Mika, this is very hard. ICE is not publishing these numbers, but we were able to obtain the numbers of deportations for March 1st through 28th of this year and compared to March 1st through 28th of last year. And what we found is that in this year, under the Trump administration, there were about 12,300 deportations by ICE. That includes people who came across the border and were deported and people who were arrested in the United States in the interior and the kind of roundups that we've been seeing made so publicly. Compare that to 2024, it was actually higher under Biden, just slightly. It was about 12,700. What all this means, though, is not only is the Trump administration not deporting as many as Biden, it's far below its goal. We heard from Stephen Miller yesterday that he wants to get to 1 million a year, perhaps more. As I understand it from people on the Hill who are looking at the funding of what they might want to pass in the budget reconciliation, they're coalescing around an idea of 600,000 a year. All of these numbers and what they're deporting now is far below that. What all this means, though, Mika, is that even though these numbers are new to us, they're not new to people who are in the White House making these decisions. Of course, Stephen Miller sees these deportation numbers every day. And so they're starting to be a real scaffolding about what they're building this policy on. They're deciding that if it takes too much money, too much funding, and too much time to investigate, find an immigrant, arrest them, detain them, go through whatever legal process they need to, unless they're sending them off to El Salvador, then they and actually put them on a plane. That takes too much money, too much time, too much manpower, even when you apply a lot of the Justice Department resources to it. It's not working out for them. The numbers aren't adding up. So they want to encourage self-deportation. That's why we've seen this multi-million-dollar ad campaign from Kristi Noem telling migrants to go home, to self-deport, that they could have a chance of coming back in. It's something the president called for in the Oval Office last week when he was talking specifically about hotel workers. Go ahead and leave. We'll find a way for you to come back in, without actually announcing a policy that would allow them to fast track to do so. In fact, if you've come illegally into the United States, there's usually about a 10-year wait before you can even apply to come back in. And they also have launched a new app called CBP Home, where they want people to tell the government when they're self-deporting so that they can include that in these overall deportation numbers. So what all of this means is that in the end, they're actually looking at the goal, which was Trump said he wanted to deport millions and millions of immigrants, and then they're looking at the reality. And so in the end, if they can get people to self-deport, if they can put pressure on Congress for more money, and if they can scare people, which is really what we've been talking about the entire time, if they can scare people from coming, show that even if they've made a mistake, like in the case of Abrego Garcia, there's nothing they're going to do to bring them back, that the whole idea about due process and giving people with an asylum claim a chance here is completely out the window. That's a way they can win, at least when it comes to new immigration and on the border, and perhaps encourage more people to deport, because the numbers themselves aren't giving them that win. It's not getting close enough to their goal.
All right, NBC News senior Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. You know, Mika, we could actually take clips over the last 3 months, and we could just, without saying I told you so, but we've done it. We've done it already on the economy. We've done it already on the markets. We could also do it on immigration. We said consistently around the table, you are not going to have enough money. You're not going to have enough manpower. You're not going to have enough judges. You're not going to have the ability to reach significant numbers in deportations, right? So self-deporting actually makes the most sense for the Trump administration. But the message that they've put out there to stop other immigrants from coming in, illegal immigrants from coming in, obviously, and I think it's a frightening message that will probably do just that. But it also is having a reverse effect. It's stopping illegal immigrants in America that are ready to go home, that don't want to stay in the United States, that get the message and are ready to leave. It's got them afraid.
That's it.
To go home. It's got them afraid to go to an ICE office. It's got them afraid to go to their local sheriff or their local police officer and say, hey, I'm not here legally. I want to go home. How do I do it? Well, the Trump administration has a responsibility. If they want that to happen, they're going to have to show that there is a pathway for people that are here illegally to go home and not end up in a prison in El Salvador. That's on them right now. And if they can do that, they will, I think, as Julia said, they will actually see their numbers go up significantly. But they've got to make sure that you don't have what the incident that you were talking about, where somebody goes and reports himself and then ends up again in terrible situation.